Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Reid. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Good morning, 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 good people. It is Friday, August the 26th, 2022. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Reid. For that, we appreciate you being here. If it's your first time on the channel, welcome. Hit the thumbs up button, like the content. Hey, you got a comment? Get in the comments for the algorithm. We have a good time over here. It's Feel Good Friday with the family. I'm glad you're all in the building. Let's put the prize pick sponsor shit at the bottom. And let's get it popping. How y'all doing today, man? How are all the people out there who were telling me to sell Damian Pierce for a second? Sell him for a second. Sell Damian. I sold Damian for a second. Where y'all at this morning? How y'all feeling today? I'm telling you, stop playing scared. Stop playing scared, man. Damian Pierce looked damn good last night, and I saw all kinds of trades hit the Discord last night where people were getting first-round picks for Damian Pierce. Yeah, told you. Easy. We knew this was going to happen. Stop playing scared. Jay Rich, what up, baby?
I'm good, man. I'm good. That was an interesting intro. It felt kind of like Bruce Buffer-ish. You know, you're really holding the good morning, but I'm happy you made it. You know, you had some difficulties before the show, but you got back in time. So I'm happy to see that you made it. We're here today. And I think that you said our sponsor shit to start the show. It's actually a sponsorship. Prize Picks, promo code WAKE UP gets you 100% deposit match up to $100. But we're good, baby. We're good. We're here. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning,
Ray,
Joe. How you doing?
Man. Feels like I've talked to him forever.
Yeah, Joe, Dynasty Barry, Ricardo, Marlon. We got a bunch of people in the building this morning, man. A bunch of people in the building. But yeah, let's just get right to it, Jay. Do we have news? Do you have a segment today? Do we have news?
I don't know how to approach this, Ray, because unfortunately, Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith is undergoing surgery on his knee. He tore his hamstring straight off the bone, and I'm not a doctor, but that doesn't sound very good for him or for the Cowboys, unfortunately. So
you just brought my high down. You just brought my high down. Like I was feeling good. Now I'm just
over that. The podcast people know he's out till December.
We need to talk about that. We need to talk about that. This Tyron Smith being out for the Dallas Cowboys is the worst thing that could happen to this offense outside of Dak Prescott going down. You look at the Cowboys, I believe they're 7-5 when Tyron Smith is not in the lineup with Dak. Now, he hasn't played a full season since 2015. But this is worst case scenario for the Dallas Cowboys outside of Dak Prescott going down and defensively Micah Parsons not being there. But from an offensive standpoint, man, this is bad. This is an offensive line that was already down Connor Williams and La'el Collins because of the offseason moves. We all know Tyler Biadasz is not that good of a center. And Tyler Smith is a mauler. He's got the talent to eventually kick out to left tackle, but it's not what you want your rookie offensive lineman who led the NCAA in penalties and holding calls. You don't want to just kick him to left tackle. Yeah. This is bad. This is we talked about it as a staff with the Draft Network. This is not good. Dak Prescott, the one, if you recall, a couple of years ago, Tyron Smith was out and the replacement left tackle almost single-handedly put Adrian Claiborne in the NFL Hall of Fame. He gave up like 5.5 sacks at that left tackle position. So not good for Zeke, not good for Dak, not good for Tony Pollard, not good for the Cowboys offense. This is bad, bad, bad. Like this is honestly, I'm not even trying to it's not overreaction. Worst thing to happen to Dallas's offense outside of Dak Prescott going down And Philadelphia, their defensive line is probably ready to feast. And if I was a defensive coordinator, I would run nothing but stunts and twists to the left side of that Dallas offensive line, confuse the hell out of Tyler Smith, Connor McGovern, Terrence Steele. This is bad, man. This is very, very bad for Dallas. We cannot gloss over that. Just keeping it real, this is not good for the Cowboys, man.
Yeah, it limits the upside of everyone involved, right? Now, there was some good news out of Dallas, and at least we'll see how true it is, that Michael Gallup is apparently not going to be on the PUP. That was, of course, reported by Jerry Jones. So how much stock do we really put into that? But, Ray, if you want to get into the games yesterday, the star of the entire day, in my opinion, I think a lot of people's opinion, was Damian Pierce, right? Running with the ones, starting for the team. Got a touchdown on the first drive, looked fantastic, running both sides between the tackles, bouncing things outside, hitting cutback lanes. Where are you at with Damian Pierce now? His value, like you said, it's up again. Where are you at with Damian Pierce?
Go fucking figure. Yeah, just go figure. Like, it's all I kept thinking about is I can't wait for everybody in here who was telling us we were just crazy. There's no way I'm holding Pierce. Stop this, man. Like, I don't know. Jay, honestly, that clip that we had posted about, like, just randomly selling players for second-round picks, the amount of overwhelming support for that comment just made my day, because we got to stop this in Dynasty. What are you doing? Like, why? What are we doing? Why on earth would you do that when he is the starting running back? You know he's the starting running back. Say what you want about when he got drafted, his profile, all that other stuff. He's a talented runner, man. Like, the running back is... It's like the easiest position to play in football, man. They get guys off the couch that can come play running back. So if you're talking about a young kid who is explosive, who can catch the ball, who's got a lot of tread left on the tire, and you didn't pay anything for him in rookie draft, why on earth would you sell for a second? Because yesterday's price is not today's price. In the words of Fat Joe, we need that as a sounder. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Because yesterday... You gullible people were selling for a second, and today, everybody out there, you're not accepting anything less than a first for Damian Pierce. He looked good, and I don't know if he's going to be the future in Houston. I pretty much guarantee he's probably not going to be the future in Houston. But can he give me 2 solid seasons of fantasy production? Yes, I do believe for 2 seasons, maybe 3, and that's all we really care about at the running back position. You can get usage out of Damian Pierce. Now, the only issue that I saw last night, and it was preseason, right? Like, it wasn't, you take everything with a grain of salt, some of it with a little more, is every time it was third down, they pulled him off the field. Which
that's the biggest problem.
That's the big problem, right? Because I don't care how good you are on the ground, you have to score, right? Which he did last night. He got in the end zone, he got the goal line work, and he punched it in. First opportunity at the goal line. It wasn't a CEH situation where they gave it to him 25 times and he got stuffed 28 times, right? He got his 1 goal line carry, converted that goal line carry, picked up first downs, but they were taking him off the field in passing down situations, Jay. And for a running back, we all know a target is worth more than a carry. I really want my running backs to catch passes, but how I'm feeling about Damian Pierce today, the same way I felt about him yesterday, because I am not a sucker. I'm going to hold him until I can get that first, because he's going to be a starting running back for the Texans. He's a talented kid on an offense that it looks like they probably don't want Davis Mills to throw the ball a lot. Like, Davis Mills, I bid on give him a chance. He's going to get his chance this year. But what I've seen through preseason, if they're in a position to draft one of those quarterbacks next year, they will. They will not just ride with Davis Mills. I watched most of that game, man, because Trey Lance was playing. We knew we were going to get to see. I mean,
the offensive line play was bad.
The offensive line, the offensive line struggled, right? No Trent Williams. I think they had 3 offensive linemen that they were down or they're trying to replace. He looked like an FCS quarterback, like getting a taste of NFL action, man. Like, if I'm being real, that's how he looked. Like, I'm still bullish, right? I got me a lot of Trey Lance out there, man. I've been on this Trey Lance train, but he looked a little mid. He was mid-grade weed. That's what he was last night. He's the type of bud that you smoke and you wake up with a headache the next day. It was mid. listen, there were some plays where I'm like, okay, if this were the regular season, this would have been a play action design run. I think it's going to be a lot of running and a lot of getting the ball out of his hands quickly to Kittle, to Debo, to Ayuk. We'll see. We'll see.
See, that's the problem, right? Is like all you want to see from Trey Lance is just like that spectacular. We saw it last time to Danny Gray, but we didn't see it this week, and it was against the Texans, and maybe it's offensive line, maybe it was just the system and what they were planning on doing. But hopefully, a little more dynamic and a little bit better from Trey Lance when the season ultimately comes around. But on top of that, I don't know if you saw this, but Treylon Burks was held out of practice on Thursday. I'm not sure if we know what the injury is. People think it's muscular. He left practice early on Wednesday and then was out yesterday. We'll see if he ultimately practices today and then shoots up for the final preseason game. And that's pretty much it, man. Colin Johnson tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
Not big for fantasy, but he was looking good in the preseason. Hopefully he get a role with the Giants.
Yeah,
obviously, that's not going to happen. Maybe you can hit him up, talk recovery.
Yeah, I'll let him know how it's going.
But outside of that, I don't know if you want to get into Jordan Reid's mock now. Jordan Reid of ESPN dropped his
man, you're
2023
just
mock
flying through stuff, man. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers played last night as well.
About that game.
I just want to. I didn't watch the game, but I want to talk about like the box score stuff and maybe some
Isaiah
things that
Pacheco
happened.
Got a lot of run. He got 10 carries, I believe, 50 yards, and then he was running ahead of Ronald Jones. So Ronald Jones looking like the fourth running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't play. Sky Moore was running behind Mecole Hardman and behind Justin Watson, apparently. So, we talked a little while ago when we were talking some depth chart stuff. Sky Moore was looking like he was going to be Juju Smith-Schuster's backup for this season. And, we hoped he can get on the field kind of in that Tyreek Hill rookie role where he was using gadget plays and small little sets and screens and, some deep routes. But it's not looking like he's going to get a ton of snaps early. But again, that could obviously change, but it's still looking like MVS and Juju are the two main wide receivers, and obviously Travis Kelce going to get a bulk of receptions as well. I'm not sure if you saw anything on the other side. I know Jordan Love played okay. He threw the ball a lot, but
it didn't look like he played okay at all. It looked like he was awful again in another interception. So it doesn't appear that he played okay. I saw a lot of people pumping up Tyler Goodson. Apparently, he's had a really good camp. Somebody I wasn't high on coming out of Iowa, but seems like he's going to carve out that third running back role in Green Bay, so good for Tyler Goodson. On the other side, like you said, Pacheco got a lot of burn, and I think Clyde is the starter, but Pacheco's going to carve out a role in that offense. And just looking at the box score, I did not watch a second of this game, but I am encouraged by Jody Fortson, deep kind of sleeper player, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was going to be Noah Gray or Jody Fortson. It didn't look like Gray did anything. I don't know. Maybe Gray didn't play. Maybe Gray is solidified as the tight end 2 in that offense. But if you're in a deep league and you've got, deep benches, deep rosters, maybe stashing a Jody Fortson. If something were to happen to Travis Kelce, which since his sophomore season or second season in the NFL, nothing has happened to him. He's just Mr. Iron Man out there at tight end. But I'd like to see Jody Fortson getting involved in the offense again, catching all 3 of his targets. I picked him up everywhere the other day.
I noticed that.
I picked him up in every league. So you noticed that. And the chosen one, Romeo Doubs, 2 for 13 on 3 targets. So it seems like his steam is starting to die down too from where it was a couple of weeks. Maybe as we get closer to the season, it's a little more clear that he's probably going to be like the 4th option or something like that. But it just seems like his steam is dying out. I'm not insinuating he's bad or anything like that, but it just seems like the high of Dobbs has come down quite a bit over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And then shout out to Ryan McDowell, who's in the chat.
Excuse me, Dobbs. Is it Dubs or Dobbs? I think it's Dobbs.
No, it's Dobbs.
Man.
He said it was Dobbs.
Yeah, it's Dobbs.
And then, Ray, the last piece of news is your boy, Joe's boy, Antonio Gibson's boy, run and kick return. Probably going to be the primary kick returner this season. How do you feel about Antonio Gibson, primary kick returner for the Washington Commanders?
I've got no comment, man.
It's not good. It's not good when you're starting running back as running kick return. Not ideal.
I've just never seen a fall like this, man. Like before your eyes, It's wild, man. It's wild. You kind of wonder, like, man, does Ron Rivera, like, what the hell? He went from CMC to the kick returner. Like, what happened, man? I don't know. Rivera's kind of, we do all this and watch him fucking go out there week 1. He's the starting running back, 20 carries, 6 receptions. J.D. McKissick cut. Surprise cut, J.D. McKissick, right?
Yeah. No, it's just
When
it's just a
do you know when the
weird
final cut down dates are? When do we get that? Like, has J.D. McKissick done anything?
No,
I've literally
I
heard
don't think
his
he's played
name.
at all.
I haven't heard his name since they re-signed him. Legitimately.
I don't think he's done anything, to be honest.
Like, can
I don't
anybody
know.
in the chat? Can anybody in the chat tell me if Jay? Like, I'm really. We keep saying he's going to be the third down back, and I get it. They brought him back, but I've heard nothing about McKissick through training camp. And again, I'm not paying attention for J.D. McKissick news, but like, did they really pay him enough to where they couldn't cut him? Like, if he hadn't been practicing or not doing anything, could they? Okay, so Patrick said he's been hurt. Mike said he's been hurt. I'm just asking. Are we for sure?
It's the 30th, so we'll know on the 30th.
On Tuesday. So are we sure he's on the team? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's going to be on the team.
Okay.
It's just, is he going to be fully healthy? I guess we'll see. So, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I just think he's always going to have a role, right? They wouldn't have brought him back if he wasn't. But it's interesting to see them use Gibson in this role, and does he ultimately eat into what McKissick was supposed to do? And I guess we won't ever know until the week 1
I'd just rather them get rid of him and let Gibson do that. Just let Gibson do that. For real, just let Gibson do that, man. Hey, Ryan McDowell is in the chat. Shout out Ryan, man. DLF. What's up, Ryan? It's my guy, man. Ryan McDowell, damn legend in the building. All right, where we going now? We want to talk mock draft 2023?
Yeah,
Jordan
mock
Reid,
draft.
our boy. That's our boy. We got insider, man. Got an ESPN insider on our team. Jordan Reid. Shout out Jordan Reid. He dropped his, I think this is his second 2023 mock draft of the cycle. I think this is his second one, but he dropped it yesterday on ESPN. Make sure you go over there and, check out him and support his work. We'll link the article in the description. But as we inch closer to college football, we get some games on this weekend, and Nebraska fans are excited, and Northwestern fans are excited. We get North Carolina.
Have you seen those Northwestern helmets?
Yeah, I
have.
have.
Seen the helmets?
Yeah.
Oh, love the Northwestern helmets
one.
with the Irish. Yeah, they look awesome. They're up there with the Rose Bowl helmets. They're up there. The
helmet
Utah
porn.
Rose Bowl helmets.
Helmet porn, man. I gotta upgrade. Let me see I gotta upgrade the helmets. Who do we need to get out of here? The Ravens one will go.
Oh, Ravens has to go. USC could go too, to be honest.
No. USC is gonna stay. We'll get us some new helmets, man. That Rose Bowl. All right, enough with that. Let's get to the mock. So Jordan Reid dropped the mock. College football starts this weekend, so we will be tapping in, following all these players. But this is an interesting one, man. I've done a couple with the Draft Network, so this was cool to kind of get a different one. And Jay, you want to go ahead and just give us the first offensive fantasy relevant player in Jay Reid's mock?
Yeah, so the first player off the board, we kind of already talked about it, but the Houston Texans select C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. The guy that we kind of have pegged as the number one quarterback off the board, at least to date, right, with what he's done so far, what we've seen from the other quarterbacks. Probably not going to be Bryce Young, but, we'll see, right? How would you feel about C.J. Stroud in Houston? Hopefully still with Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, and then Damian Pierce at running back.
They're taking the thing is, again, I know it's preseason and the 49ers didn't play anybody, right? No Nick Bosa, Trent Williams. But Lovie Smith seems to have, at least the culture of the Texans feels different. Like watching them, they don't just feel like just a complete cluster, right? You know what you're going to get out of Houston. What they're going to do this year offensively, heavy run game. They're going to lean on the run. Marlon Mack had a couple of explosive runs. They were talking about Rex Burkhead potentially being on the bubble, which was interesting. But they're going to put together a better product. You know that? So I don't know if they're going to be picking number 3 like that high, but I'm sure it's based on Super Bowl odds.
It's based off odds, yeah.
But if they are, they will not pass on their pick of the litter at quarterback. There's no way, man. I'm watching Davis Mills last night. I wanna believe in him, man. I want to give him a shot. I want to. I've been talking about Mills, man. I'm like, give him a shot. Like, I want them. He needs the full year. Give him a fair shake. This whole season, but. If they're picking number 3 overall, that means they weren't very good, and they're not going to pass on C.J. Stroud. So I like it, man. I like that pick, and I think that would be good for that offense, right? Probably solidifies Damian Pierce a little bit to a degree, solidifies him for another year. Helps out Cooks, helps out Nico Collins. They probably get C.J. Stroud another weapon in that draft. I like it, man. Who does he got coming up next?
So number 4, your Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence get a new wide receiver, your number 1 wide receiver, Kayshon Boutte out of LSU. How do you feel about the fit in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence for Kayshon Boutte?
Love it. Kayshon Boutte, Christian Kirk. Love it. I think in Joe Marino's mock from the Draft Network, he had them going Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame. And did you see the quote from Doug Peterson? No, they had him it was at 7 based on that time.
Okay.
It was at 7. But did you hear what Doug Peterson said about tight ends?
No.
There was a quote yesterday, and he was like, "I love the tight end. Like, I love having tight ends.
I
That's
love
what he
tight
said.
ends.
Well, it's funny
Pause.
because we did this exercise, Jay, in 2018. Do you know who led the NFL in receptions? He either led the NFL
Zach
in
Ertz.
receptions. Okay, well, fuck.
Come on, bro. It's Eagles tight end, baby. Zach Ertz, my man.
You stole my punchline, man. You're supposed to play along for the show, but damn, yeah. Zach
Sorry, man.
Ertz, man. Zach
Layup.
Ertz he either led the league or was second in receptions with like 115. Yeah. And Doug Peterson likes the tight end. So if he drafts Boutte or if he drafts Michael Mayer, it's probably going to be really fruitful for us.
Should we be targeting Dan Arnold and Evan Ingram in our fantasy draft?
You do not target Dan Arnold and Evan Ingram. He said he loves tight ends, so you don't target Evan Ingram because he's not a tight end. He's a trash can with arms.
There you go.
Who's next? I love and first of all, let me say Boutte is my wide receiver. He's the best wide receiver in this class. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is closer to the third best receiver than he is Kayshon Boutte.
Wow.
And I'm almost at the point.
Wow. You're ready to make that flip.
I'm gonna get spicy.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
Go
At number 5, the Atlanta Falcons select Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. I love this spot for Bryce Young. 2 massive targets for him to throw to. I'm sure they bring in someone at the running back position. The offensive line hopefully will improve for Bryce Young because that will be a bit of a problem. But love seeing a young quarterback go into a situation where he has 2 top weapons already. And if heaven forbid Calvin Ridley comes back, my goodness, that would be wheels up for the Atlanta offense. It really just comes down to that offensive line. But I do love Bryce Young in Atlanta. How do you feel about him heading to Atlanta? Do you think the offense will be good? Do you like Arthur Smith as a coordinator? I think there's a lot of good things that can happen there with Bryce Young. I'm just curious how you feel about him. You know, it's the size concerns, right?
Yeah.
Arm talent's there. Is the size going to matter come draft day? Is he really going to go 5th overall to the Falcons or to another team this high in the draft?
I love it. I love the spot. He's a little dude, man. And you know, some of the coworkers and colleagues at the Draft Network, they get that intimate access with those players, and they all said, man, you'll walk past them and you won't even know that was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Yeah. He's a little dude, but right now for me, he is the best quarterback prospect in this class. I think he's a rare combination of like Russell Wilson.
And is that from just a tools perspective, like arm talent mixed with
processing,
what he can do on the ground, but kind of ignoring the size factor?
He's not the most, I guess, physically gifted. He's not the most physically gifted, right? He doesn't have the biggest arm. He doesn't have the biggest body. But I just think you put him back there, he really reminds me of Russ, man. Like, you know, there were a lot of questions like, Russ is kind of short. You know, does he really have this when he came out? And
and people need to look at Russell Wilson when he came out versus now. Because of that one off season, like 3 or 4 years ago,
he got on that Barry Bonds program. He got on that Barry Bonds program, man. Russ didn't look like that coming out of Wisconsin. Russ is out there looking like a running back now, man.
You go look at like NC State Russ, and that's a very different quarterback than you see today. But at number 7, we're going to Carolina, and Jackson Smith and Jigba heads to Carolina out of Ohio State. How would you feel about him there? I mean, the problem is Baker his quarterback? Yeah. Is Matt Rule even there? Obviously, DJ Moore is there. Second wide receiver spot is definitely up for grabs. Jackson Smith and Jigba could be great operating behind DJ Moore, kind of in an intermediate type of routes and stuff like that. How would you feel about the fit in that situation? And how would you feel about Jackson Smith and Jigba there? Obviously, he's not your wide receiver 1, but how would you feel about his draft stock and process?
Okay, let me tell y'all what's about to happen with JSM. This is what's going to happen. He's going to go out there and absolutely smash this season. I mean,
Did you see the Matt Miller comment?
Yeah, well, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it, all right?
Good.
I think it's a real possibility he drops like 1,800 yards this year.
Easily.
I think this is a
I think
real...
2K's in range. Like
I think 2K is in... I know that sounds batshit crazy, but it's in range for JSN this year. It is in range. I think his odds on Prize Picks is like
it's like 1,700 yards.
No, it's like 1,200, man. Like it's just a health bet.
I thought it was higher than that.
It's just a health bet. But if they take him at 7, like if they're picking at 7, is Rule there? And if Rule's gone, do they really ride with Baker for another year? I don't know, man. And then he's the 2 to me behind DJ Moore, which a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this. I just don't know if JSN is like a 1. Like, I don't know if he... There are a lot of
At the
people. This was
NFL level,
before
right? At the NFL level.
This is before the Matt Miller tweet. I can tell you with confidence that the scouts over at the Draft Network do not have him as the consensus one. They have questions about his athleticism, his speed, his ability. Like,
really, they question his athleticism too, eh?
I just challenge you, man. Like, just eye test, not even scout. Just go watch that Utah game where he went ballistic and had 300-something yards.
Oh, he's just wide open all the time.
And just look at him run and look at how the gap that defenders close on him. He's not very fast, man. Like he isn't that kind of explosive athlete. I don't think so. It ain't like Boutte. It's not like Quentin Johnston.
So the only thing, right, and I'll just to kind of combat that a little bit, was that there is still like that video and that interview of Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave saying he's the most talented of the three of them. And they kind of like admitted that themselves. So I'm curious to see, like you're saying, how he tested. Maybe somebody that's because they're draft eligible.
Somebody said this is an L take. It's no L take. I mean, I didn't say he's bad. I didn't say he's not a top 3 guy, but he's not the one. I don't know how that's an L, man. I don't think he's not Boutte and he's not Quentin Johnston. He's not that, man.
But this is going to be another case of a freak athlete overtaking an extremely productive, talented wide receiver in the draft, right? Again, the NFL just betting on upside versus just talent, right? And to your point about his line's 1440 on PrizePicks right now. So, I mean, you're looking at 1,500 yards from him this season. And I think that's his line just for the regular season. That doesn't count bowl games. And doesn't count even the Big Ten championship if they make it there. So that's a very high line for a guy to only play 12 games, right? So obviously JSN going to go off this season. But I'm curious, like you're saying, like we'll get to Quentin Johnson.
Matt Bruning said JSN tops out at about 20 miles an hour, which is not great. He's not, and Matt is tapped in, campus to Kansas City. He's not the most athletic. He's not, but he is one of the best route technicians around. He's a damn good player. This is not shit on JSN season at all. But at 7 overall for your wide receiver 2, I don't really like it. it.
And so I think we didn't actually get into the quote, but Matt Miller was talking about how he thinks that there are scouts who believe that JSN could fall out of the first round in the draft. But his kind of caveat to the end of that tweet was that, but wait until they see him play this season.
Yeah,
right?
He's going to smash.
He's going to go off.
He's going to go. The sentiment. Here's the problem, and let's just jump. Here's what's going to happen. For worse, Quentin Johnston is going to have to overcome the TCU stigma, man. Like that is going to be a hard.
Do you think so?
I know so. I think most casual gamers who aren't tapped into the important metrics, who aren't looking at, it's funny, man. I'm not gonna say any names, but I was in a Discord group or a group chat the other day, and the analysis was he only had 33 receptions. Like he's not very good. Yeah. He only had 33 receptions, but TCU only completed 200 passes. So when you look at his percentage of the receptions, it's off the charts, right? Like he balled out. But I think because Jalen Reagor was bad, because Josh Doxson was a bust, I think it's just going to be very hard, no matter what Quentin Johnston does, no matter what he does this season, because he's going to go to the combine and he's going to measure in at 6'3", 6'4", 215, 220 pounds. He's going to have a 40-something inch vertical jump. He's probably going to run low
broad, right?
Low 4.4, high 4.3, 11.6 broad. His RAS score is going to be off the chain. And ultimately, it's going to be, he did it in the Big 12. He's a TCU wide receiver.
A little bit.
Like it's going to be hard.
But he will have his moment though. Like that's what's interesting to me is like you have JSN who will ball out all season, probably in the playoff on the big stages. But then you get to the combine and he's not going to be the star, right? He'll look good in the route running drills like Chris Olave did and all that stuff, but he won't necessarily be the star of the combine the way that we expect Quentin Johnston to be. And then so how can he kind of twist the narrative back in his favor at pro days and things like that? Because that will be, I think, a small factor for NFL scouts. But let's move forward with the 8th overall pick in the draft from Jordan Reid. It's the Detroit Lions taking quarterback Will Levis, Ray. We haven't seen Will Levis to Detroit, but how do you feel about Will Levis in Detroit?
I love it. Behind that offensive line with those weapons, love it. Love the fit. Love it. How high would he go? Superflex. Will Levis in Detroit, CJ Stroud in Houston, Bryce Young in Atlanta.
Oh, man. I think you can make the case for him as QB1. I think you could. I think just again, it's if the team, the construction, what we project them to do in the offense. I mean, I love Atlanta from a just weapons perspective, but I don't know how well that offense is actually going to operate. Same with Houston. I love it as a potential landing spot for a quarterback, but not necessarily right away. I think if Will Levis hops into Detroit, he should be locked and loaded right out of the get-go. So I do like him a lot in that spot. And to your point about his rushing floor, he does have a bit of a rushing ability as well.
Yes.
Obviously, cannon arm, lots of weapons to throw the ball. So I do like that quite a bit. But there's also
that would behind that O-line, Jay, Levis in Detroit, and he just seems like a Detroit guy. Like he
seems like a Dan Campbell guy.
He seems like a Dan Campbell guy, man. I like Dan Campbell. All right, go ahead. Who's next? I love this one too.
We have another quarterback vying for QB1 status. Anthony Richardson going to your New York Giants.
Why are the Jaguars mine, the Giants mine? You give me all the
just teams you root for. You root for Daniel Jones and Brian Dable and Trevor Lawrence.
Get the hell out of here.
Do. So your Giants take my quarterback, Anthony Richardson, 10th overall. How do you feel about that situation? So we have C.J. Stroud in Houston, Bryce Young in Atlanta, Will Levis in Detroit, and Anthony Richardson on the New York Giants. Please rank those 4 quarterbacks for me right now.
Fantasy, right?
Sure, fantasy. Whatever you want.
Levis, Young, Stroud, Richardson.
Really?
Right now. Yeah. Today.
Really?
Today.
So you're not projecting at all. You're just saying today.
Just today. Just right now. I don't want to project. If I project it, if Richardson smashes, Levis Richardson would be 1-2 for me because they've got the rushing upside. They'd be 1-2.
Yeah.
But Richardson is by far the worst passer of the 4 right now.
Oh, yeah.
By far. By far. Like it's Stroud and Young, gap. Will Levis, gap. Anthony Richardson as what they do from the pocket. Athleticism and running around, it's Anthony Richardson, gap. Will Levis, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. So, he's got to improve this year. All right, go to Tennessee's pick. Tennessee at 13.
Yeah, so at 13, Tennessee picks Michael Mayer, tight end of Notre Dame. How do you like the fit there with Treylon Burks? But quarterback, right? Is Tannehill going to be there? Probably not. Probably going to see Malik Willis, right? Or maybe another quarterback who they sign and bring in. I'm not sure. Maybe they restructure Tannehill, but how do you feel about Michael Mayer in Tennessee?
I like it. I think it's a good fit.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
The
volume is the problem.
Yeah, the volume, right? I would rather him be in Cincinnati. I'd rather him be in Jacksonville. I'd rather him be somewhere else. I think I'm okay with it.
Any chance Derrick Henry retires and they kind of revamp that offense a little bit?
Nah, the King is going to keep motoring, man. That dude's just a machine. All right, who's next?
So at 19, the Baltimore Ravens select Jordan Addison out of your USC Trojans. How do you feel about Addison, assuming, he's there with Lamar Jackson, which we all assume.
Love it.
But then competing with Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews for targets. How do you feel about that situation? I think it's great for the offense, maybe not so great for the pass catchers.
Yeah, great for the offense, great for Lamar Jackson. You get another, they need another 2. Do we really have high hopes for James Prochet or Devin Duvernay? No.
I mean, we expected it to be a 3-headed monster, but they traded Hollywood Brown, right?
Right.
And drafted Rashad, and then they have Rashad Bateman, but they didn't draft another receiver to replace him. So I would not be surprised at all if they do take a receiver here. I think the fit is great. Obviously we kind of expect Isaiah Likely to kind of work in a little bit as a second tight end option when they run a lot of 12 personnel. But I do think Addison would be a great fit. I'm curious whether him or Bateman would be the alpha. I think they do a lot of things very similarly. Obviously, Addison has a smaller frame, but I do think that they run similar routes and do things very similarly from how they attack defenders' perspective.
The alpha would be Mark Andrews still.
Yeah.
That's the alpha. All right, Seattle's got one. Seattle got a quarterback. Who'd they take?
They took your boy out of Miami, Tyler Van Dyke.
I'm trying to understand why all these players are my boys. When have I ever liked Tyler Van Dyke?
You had a stretch, but you backpedaled quickly.
No, I said he's probably going to be a first-round pick, but he ain't my damn boy.
You had a minute where you were very much in on Tyler Van Dyke, and you were kind of like, he can't run. I don't know about Miami. Mario Cristobal, I don't know. I think Tyler Van Dyke's going to have a great season. In Seattle, though, how do you feel about him there? I think it's just, can the offensive line be better? But obviously, if they keep Lockett, which I don't think they will necessarily.
I don't think they will.
But obviously, he does have DK Metcalf there, which would be good.
I don't know, man. I got to see Tyler Van Dyke play some more. I don't know how to feel about it right now. Like,
Can you see him play some more? Wasn't he the ACC Rookie of the Year?
I know. I need to see him play some more, man. Maybe it's Seattle that's bothering me. Maybe it's Pete Carroll. Maybe it's Seattle. But
Seattle feels like a big rebuild, you know? Like, it doesn't feel like it's just a one-year thing.
He would have DK Metcalf. He would have Kenneth Walker. He would have Noah Fant. They drafted an offensive lineman. Maybe that's not a bad spot for a quarterback, man. Maybe that's not too bad.
Can we get Pete Carroll, to retirement maybe? Change that offense up a little bit, open it up. I think it's fine.
Bruning is just going in today. He said, "Yikes, that Seattle and TVD." All right.
Would he be a first-round pick in rookie drafts?
No, I think people would let him fall to the second. I don't think he'd be
Is that a mistake, though? That's the question. So you're saying you don't think he'd be in the first round? Would it be a mistake? Is he your Mac Jones? Probably not. But
no, absolutely.
Is he your Mac Jones where you don't let a first-round quarterback slip to the second round?
Yeah, I'll let him. No. Somebody else can take him. That is the answer. Don't let him slip. But I'm not taking him.
All right. Indianapolis at 26 takes apparently your favorite wide receiver, Quentin Johnston. You were early in the show ready to proclaim him number 2 ahead of JSN. Now make your case for one Quentin Johnston.
I'm not saying it yet, but I will not be shocked if that's what it ends up being, man. He's a freak. Quentin Johnston is an absolute freak. Freak of nature. Speed. He's going to be an early declare. The market share numbers are there. The athleticism is going to be there. The biggest thing is, man, the TCU bias, man. That's going to be, I think that's for sure. I don't think there's anything that he can do besides get drafted and play well, that's going to break that cycle, man. Gamers have been burned by TCU wide receivers over the last 8 years, right? With Josh Doxson, with Jalen Reagor, they were burned and burned bad. Like, those guys weren't even usable. So,
yep.
I think there's a case where he's closer to 2 than he is like 4 or 5. I mean, for me, there's no doubt he's a locked and loaded top 3 receiver going into the season, right? I'm not going to fucking say he's my top wide receiver 3 in the class for draft purposes now when that's 8 months away, right? But going into the season, if I had to do like a preseason rank, he's definitely a top 3 guy up there.
He's tier 1 though, right?
Oh, he's tier 1. He's a tier. Well,
do you have Addison in tier 1 though? Oh,
no,
you don't have him tier 1.
The only tier 1 guy that I have, like the way that I have it, it's like a S tier, like superstar potential. That's Kayshon Boutte. And then it's like a tier 1 plus, and that's JSN, that's Quentin Johnston. And Jordan Addison is not in that tier with JSN and Quentin Johnston. He's in the tier right after that. If you want those ranks, patreon.com/allgas. I got full dynasty rankings coming. GQ's never done dynasty rankings, and I haven't done it publicly.
People hop into the Patreon and they're like, where are the rankings? And we're like, we don't advertise rankings.
We don't advertise them, but everybody is clamoring for them, so I put it together and it looks fucking nice. So come pay $7 a month and you can get them. But he is
at 20. Okay,
he's in the tier with JSN. He and JSN are in a tier together.
And to your point, right? Polar opposites: freak athlete, lack of production versus maybe a lesser athlete with
monster
loads
production.
Of production.
That's funny. They're polar opposite players, man. All right, get the people all fired up now so we can go full
at
full
27
panic mode.
With Will Levis and DeAndre Swift. Bijan Robinson to the Detroit Lions at 27. Chaos will ensue, bringing in Bijan Robinson to Detroit. What does that do? Swift is what? A top 5 dynasty running back right now. I think he's still a top 5 dynasty running back. Bijan Robinson is a top 5 dynasty running back right now. Can we really have 2 top 5 dynasty running backs on the same team?
Did you read what Reid said about it, about the pick?
I did not. I didn't read that
Swiss,
part. My apologies, Jordan.
A little bit of injury history. Got Bijan Robinson. What would happen if the Lions took Bijan? If Bijan just fell, right? Because, NFL teams are getting smarter about drafting running backs. What would happen? What happens between Swift and Robinson?
What happens?
Yeah, what happens?
I mean,
what happens? Yes, what happens?
I mean, I think Bijan would be the primary rusher, but is he a better receiver than Swift?
No.
So then they're in a committee where they both utilize their best skill sets, but who's more valuable?
I want this to happen because if you think the Brian Robinson versus Antonio Gibson battle was a storyline, the Lions draft Bijan Robinson, hold on to your butts. Hold on to your butts, because that's going to be a bumpy ride for all DeAndre Swift managers if the Lions did that, man. Woo!
Yeah, it would probably be one of the most talented backfields, like just from a projection standpoint, prospect pedigree, all these things we've seen. Like we look at Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, like amazing backfield, but these guys aren't, first round picks, top picks, super high producers.
I might quit fantasy if that happens. Matt K. All right, the last offensive skill position player in Jordan Reed's mock. I love this one. Love this pick.
At 30, the Green Bay Packers select Jaheim Bell, tight end out of South Carolina. Freak athlete, Ray. Tell the people about Jaheim Bell and how you feel about him going to the Packers at 30.
It's crazy when you get a tight end and they're talking about we're going to use this tight end in the Deebo Samuel role. I mean, he's a freaking athlete, man. He's not built like your traditional inline tight end, but apparently all reports out of South Carolina is he's very aggressive in the run game, but he's like 6'3", 235. So he's kind of more in that Evan Ingram type mold. But if you look at him, his body type, his body build versus Evan Ingram, he's much more dense. He's a lot thicker player than Evan Ingram. You give this dynamic playmaker to Aaron Rodgers, and holy shit, man. I think it's Jermichael Finley times 2, right? When Jermichael Finley was in Green Bay, very athletic kid out of Texas A&M, Jaheim Bell, I think he'd be a monster with Aaron Rodgers. He really reminds me.
Oh, he'd be so good.
If you're asking me like what NFL like fantasy relevant tight end he reminds me of, remember Jordan Reed? No pun intended for the guy who wrote the mock, but Jordan Reed played quarterback at Florida, transferred to transition to tight end, was kind of that move H-back tight end and was really good, but injuries took a hold of him. I think he'd be very comparable to Jordan Reed if he does get the requisite draft capital. I love it, man. I absolutely love Jaheim Bell to Green Bay. So that's Jordan Reed's mock draft, 2023 NFL mock. He hadn't put one out in a minute, and I rock with Jordan Reed. That's my boy, so we got to support him. Everything he does, make sure you click the link in the description to check out the full mock. But Jay, you ready to have a little bit of fun? Because on
Sunday, to whoop your ass.
On Sunday, the NFL, they're going to release their top 20 players of the 2022 season. So here's the list in alphabetical order. Got Davante Adams, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, King Henry, Tyreek, J.C. Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Shaq Leonard. And for those of you who don't know who Shaq Leonard is, Darius Leonard, right? That Patrick Mahomes, Micah Parsons, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Rodgers, Deebo Samuel, Jonathan Taylor, T.J. Watt, and Trent Williams are the last 20 players remaining. Jay, I want you to go ahead and hit the people with your top 10 prediction. Last year we did this, and I think I nailed it.
You did very well. I think you got like 7 of 10. I think
7
you
of 10 or 8 of 10. Yeah, I nailed the top 10 last year. So let's see yours. Here goes your top 10 players. Go ahead and give the people your top 10 prediction.
Number 1, Cooper Kupp. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. 3, Tom Brady. 4, swinging helmet man, Aaron Donald. Number 5, Josh Allen. Number 6, Jonathan Taylor. Number 7, T.J. Watt. Number 8, Patrick Mahomes. Number 9, Deebo Samuel. And number 10, Davante Adams. Ray, how did you feel about my list?
I like it. I think Deebo.
I was surprised you didn't have Deebo in your top 10.
I'm interested to see what they do with Deebo because normally they kind of make players like buy their time and pay their dues. So for Deebo to go, I don't even know if he was ranked last year. So for him to go from unranked to 9, that seems like a big jump for Deebo. I mean, he's inside the top 20, but I don't hate this list. I think JT at 6 is high. I don't think they'll put him at 6. And Cooper Kupp at 1
was the bold one,
yeah,
right?
Kupp at 1 was
like Super Bowl MVP for like one of the best wide receiver seasons ever. I get putting Rodgers at 1, but I don't think Rodgers had an amazing season. Like again, he had a great season.
MVP. What do you mean?
He did what Aaron Rodgers does. He won a lot of games. He threw a lot of touchdowns. I don't know. Did he like look at Herbert's season? Look at Tom Brady's season. Like I don't know if he was like.
Aaron Rodgers was really fucking good last year. He was very really good. All right, let's look at, you want to see, all right, so this is Jay's list one more time. Let's pull up my top 10 list, all right? My top 10 list. I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers at 1, Cooper Kupp 2, Aaron Donald, I have him 3rd, Mahomes 4, T.J. Watt 5, Tom Brady 6, Josh Allen 7, Justin Jefferson, I have him at 8, Derrick Henry, yes, Derrick Henry is going to be inside the top 10, and we both have Davante Adams at 9. Derrick Henry had damn near 1,000 yards in 8 games and then still was like top 10.
But how are you going to put him ahead of Jonathan Taylor? That was
Because
my only problem with your
what
list.
the
Is putting him ahead of Jonathan Taylor.
If you listen to NFL players talk, they say Derrick Henry is the best running back in football. Not talking no fantasy. If you listen to NFL players talk.
Thing is, though, it's the list of the top NFL players for 2022, not in the league, period. It's for 2022.
Right, for the season last year. Yes.
Yeah. So the dude who played 8 games is going to be in the top 10.
Yes.
All right.
It's respected to Pierce because you're being one of those raw stat counters. Oh, yeah, he had 33. Look at what he did the 8 games that he played. And
I know what he did, but you're taking away what Jonathan Taylor did.
It's
for a whole season.
It's the respect of your peers, man. I will put a bet on it that Derrick Henry is inside the top 10. He was number 2 last year. He's not falling outside the top 10, man. They're not going to vote him out of the top 10. Most NFL players still think he's the best running back in football. And if you're the best running back in football, then you're going to be inside the top 10.
All right. I don't doubt that, but I think you're just taking away from what Jonathan Taylor did for the whole season. I understand what Derrick Henry did for his 8 games. He was phenomenal. He almost had 1,000 yards. He had a ton of touchdowns. But JT did have a pretty damn good season in his own right, and he did play the full season. That's my only argument against Derrick Henry ahead of Jonathan Taylor.
What about
him being in the top 10 is a different argument.
What do you think about my Justin Jefferson at 8?
I was surprised, because, again, for me, I told you I wanted to put Justin Jefferson super high. I just don't think he had the season. They didn't make it into the playoffs, really. Like, they didn't make it far. I didn't think he put it all together to have a season where you're like, yeah, he should be in the top 10.
You don't think he...
individual talent perspective, he was great, but he wasn't as good as Cooper Kupp. I think that Deebo Samuel had a better season than Justin Jefferson did. Are you going to argue that Deebo had a better season than Super Bowl? I love Justin Jefferson, but this is based off of this season, not how I feel about them as players.
108 receptions, 1,616 yards, and 10 touchdowns, and that's not a complete season?
But Deebo Samuel had a much better season.
I'm just making sure I understood you correctly. 108 receptions, 1,600 yards, and 10 touchdowns is not a complete season?
It's not better than the 3 receivers I have over him in this list. That's the thing. It's like I just couldn't find a way to put him in there. You're talking about 3 guys that played phenomenally, went to the playoffs, had super high records. One went to the Super Bowl and won. One almost went to the Super Bowl.
This ain't no damn team. This is not a team.
You know it matters.
No,
it matters.
No, it matters. All right, let us know in the comments whose top 10 list is better, mine or Jay Rich's. One more time.
And give us your top 10 list.
Huh?
Tell the people to give us their top 10 list. Maybe this.
Give us your top. No, if somebody could predict that thing, yeah, that'd be dope. But there's Jay's list: Kupp, Rodgers, Brady, Donald, Josh Allen, me, Rodgers, Kupp, Donald, Mahomes, T.J. Watt.
Very high on Mahomes too.
Yeah,
Very high on Mahomes.
I think the respect of the league, man. I think he's still that dude. People still value him or view him as that guy in the NFL circles. I kind of wanted to put Micah Parsons up there in the top 10, but I just don't think they're going to put him up there. I'm not going to put him up there right now. So that's your boy Jay Rich. He not a complete season, 1,600 yards.
Deebo Samuel had 1,770 yards and 14 touchdowns.
Okay, so he had
he basically led his team to the playoffs with a terrible quarterback. I mean, I don't get how you can make the case for Justin Jefferson to be over Deebo Samuel. That's all I'm saying.
Agree to disagree. All right, we had a super chat. Let's get the super chat in the question. Morning, Ray and Rich. Dynasty question: would you be willing to trade any 23 first-round pick for Treylon Burks? Like any of them? Like a late one? Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I would. I'm not trading
the Treylon Burks roller coaster is. It's not
Matt
fun,
Kelly
man.
nailed that. I'm not trading like the 101 or 102 or any of that for him. But you're talking about like the 19, 112. Sure, I'll trade that for. I'm still in on Treylon. I'm not worried about it, man. What am I going to be worried about right now? Like he'll be fine.
What if he doesn't start though?
Jesus.
If he doesn't start week 1, are you worried?
Ray, do you think Levis has a shot at the Heisman? I think he's got a shot.
Ray, can we talk about this for a second? Because Quinn Ewers is 50 to 1 to win the Heisman. And
no.
But hear me out. Hear me out for 1 second. If somehow he beats Alabama in week 2, he is going to go from 50 to 1 to 5 to 1. And that's, to me, why you bet Quinn Ewers to win the Heisman. He is 50-1 right now. You can get it. I think it's on, I don't know what site it's on. It's on a site somewhere. I already have it. But if somehow Sark and Texas can beat Alabama, Quinn Ewers is going from 50-1 to 5-1. He's going to be right there with Caleb Williams. So that's the only case I will make. And you will know that early in the season, and you're getting really good value because no one thinks he can beat Alabama. I'm with you. I don't think he can beat Alabama. But if somehow he does, and somehow they do, he's going way the hell up in the Heisman odds. That's all I'm saying.
We appreciate y'all tapping in today. It was a great show. Good job, Jay Rich. Appreciate Jordan Reid and the mock. Do not, I repeat, do not put 1 red cent on Quinn Ewers to win the Heisman Trophy. Just do not do it. They are not beating Alabama. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Use the promo code WAKEUP. Got prop bets going out, MLB, preseason football, WNBA playoffs, all that good stuff. Newsletter came out today. Subscribe to the news. I'm telling y'all, you better subscribe to the newsletter now because all the shit that you're getting for free will be paid once the website goes live. So subscribe to the newsletter. Link is in the description. We've got a new podcast, America's Game. Eric Vanek and Scott,
Comes out tomorrow.
Eric Vanek and Scott Connor. I was on their podcast yesterday, so that's going to drop. Got all of our stuff off the line, 4D Chess. Got an injury podcast coming for the upcoming football season. It's going to be dope. Tap into everything. And if you want to be a part of the squad, patreon.com/allgas. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the final weekend of preseason football. Enjoy some college football this weekend, and make sure you wake y'all asses up on Monday. We out of this thing. Peace.